It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here. Basically, that's my third time on GITI. Well, do you mind, maybe I can switch to Russian? Can I? Yep. I guess the online translation will be on the same channel. Так, коллеги, еще раз здравствуйте. Я вот продемонстрировал свои...
So good day. Once again, I have demonstrated my skills to speak in English, but still my presentation is going to be in Russian. So I know many of you, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. So I want to tell a brief story to those who see me for the first time. So after the presentation made by Vladimir about Internet things, so my first acquaintance with cyber security happened several years ago. I'm from Ukraine by origin, so I came I arrived at one of the factories that produced computers, personal computers packed in iron boxes. And at that time, I was so disappointed and upset that I left and started doing telecoms instead of information security. And now I am back to information security, but security today no longer means iron boxes, but rather some other things, and I'm happy to be dealing with it. We are in reality a group of companies. Years ago we had only 2 offices here, and now we have 4 offices here. We are present at all the European markets. We are partnering with big international network, banking networks. We are information security integrators. So we underwent an evolution, not only geographically, but also in terms of the scope of our services. Initially, we were vendor-oriented integrants, so we introduced vendor technologies. We provided also engineering services. We took best solutions at the market and introduced them to the Ukrainian and Georgian markets. Those were Arcfire and others. So then with time, we underwent evolution and decided to offer professional services to the market. We set up 2 training centers in Tbilisi and Kiev, and in 2015 we are going to open a security laboratory. So evolution is sort of comes from top to bottom. So first you need to understand the problem, when you need to train, to educate, provide services, and then provide a product. But we actually took the alternative way, and from bottom to top. So now this is it about our company, and I want to speak about sustained security process. How do we see security? We see it as process, and I'm sure that our clients also see security as a process. How do we view this process? It starts with our sales manager coming to us. So this is our sales manager, and he tells us, well, hello, let's initiate it in information security project. And as a rule, again, if we speak about vendor-oriented solution, we need to provide the sales manager with a solution immediately. But we don't want to use this method, just providing a product, but we want to be process-oriented. We can present it as a so-called Missy Principle that was first described in the McKinsey Way book, and this is the principle that is based on different processes that are not mutually exclusive, but rather synergetic. So we want first to understand what to protect, how to teach you to manage that, and how to ensure continuous improvement of the technologies or approaches. So let's consider this cycle step by step. what to protect. So let's imagine a typical project. For instance, data security, because all the projects protect data. We do not protect computers with iron boxes as a structural object, but we are interested in protected data. Let's speak about DOP project, for instance. So what do we need to protect? We need to understand what the information assets are. We need to audit and to identify critical information assets to focus on. So let's speak about some myths and facts that we can see from our experience. Very frequently we ask our clients, okay, what information assets you want to protect? All of them, they are telling us everything is critical and we want to protect everything. So those who try to cover everything will end up not being able to control anything at all, because always you need to understand a scope and to select critical information assets to focus on. So we try to work independently or jointly with partners. Like for instance, we have a partner helping us in all types of activities, namely in drawing an inventory of critical assets. So this is the company called EY. They are really good in business, so they can understand financial processes, and depending on different business processes, they can actually understand what kind of information is supporting these processes and needs to be protected. And another approach is a DOP system focused on monitoring of users, and the users actually this information needs to protect the data, because very frequently users are malicious, I would say, but there are some utilities used by users. They sometimes use some espionage utilities, etc., but this is still a rare case, and we try to tailor more common solutions. So then technologies. What kind of technologies are we going to use? Primarily data protection technologies. But anyway, we mainly speak about data leaks that can be provoked by insider activities. Like for instance, maybe some users of our company's services purposefully disclose the data to someone, or maybe it's social engineering if people call you and tell you that they are representing some engineering companies and they make you disclose some information. Maybe it's a virus, a germ, maybe it's advanced sophisticated attack, maybe there are some backdoors that allow the hackers have an access to your system, etc. So when we speak about DLP system, that means we need to include firewall, breach detection solution, data leaks protection, etc. So we need to consider this comprehensively, and we have a whole list of different technologies preventing data leaks. But again, there is a huge problem that we encounter. When we have the growth from nothing to something, we can say that once we introduce a new technology, we get a result. And well, I'm now saying some things that are not in my favor, but I need to be objective and to make you understand that what you need to purchase is not products, but systems. Because first we need to close major gaps, and then we have to purchase sophisticated systems to cover all the minor gaps as well. So it's clear that we cannot ensure 100% security, but when we are trying to reach as close as 100 as we can, that actually sometimes it's just money wasting. So again, at the first stage of auditing, we need to properly develop a roadmap. And we need to start with protection, closing the gaps, then to go to prevention. And when we need to enable the owners of information to classify their data themselves, they would know that they should not let such kind of classified information go beyond their domain. We also may introduce authorization, digital signature, etc., or systems that identify botnets, that prevent malware from penetrating into organization, etc. Then, how to manage all these operations? In order to manage, you need to have processes organized. So processes come first. I mean, processes within which our technologies function. And most important is to involve management into processes.
If we speak about DLP, again, let's come back to Glyphs. The policy of the information security is provided not an appropriate division, but by the leaders of the company. The division is in charge of implementation. You see how it's maintained and who reacts on leakage. The owners, I'm financial director, and the division gives me service of the defense. I tell them how to maintain it, and they themselves, they will select an appropriate tools. The process is very, very open and very transparent, and therefore the result is efficient. Also, we say IT risks. Actually, yes, IT risks which take place within the system, but all risks, willy-nilly, finally, they have economic outcome. It's impossible risk not to be followed or by some economic failure, economic default. For commercial companies, banks, etc., each risk can be qualified or calculated in money. Therefore, if we take to this approach, we speak with the manager in the similar words. It's security is process, not tool. If we purchase the best system without process, without maintenance, without some auxiliary tools and so on and a good audit, we won't have, of course, positive result. And the main result, the process of improvement. What's this? It's the process of incessant teaching, learning, one. Old politician who had set up the Soviet state once being green man, he said, learn out, and learn out. He means Vladimir Lenin. So, learning, teaching, learning, etc., starting, etc. So, yes. So, at our training centers, we propose such trainings. Investment into learning, into study, teaching. It's the basement. In Georgia, I cannot trace such kind of trend, like in Ukraine. When in Ukraine we set up such trend, people say, well, we shall invest money, but when they are trained and then go away. But what's better? Not to teach them and leave them there ignorant, or just to have educated people. So teaching, it's very, very crucial thing, because it's a cycle, and it's primary process. So if I somehow, at least very, very insignificantly, just make you sure that it's process, let's take to this issue like process. You are welcome with your questions if you have such ones.